everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. Welcome to TLDC, the Training, Learning, and Development Community. Thanks for joining. We've got a few people in. This is excellent. Hi, Stephanie. Nice to see you. Let's see. I've got Kim is in. Gabrielle, nice to see you. Lita, Liz, thanks for joining. And I'm sure we'll have a few more people log in. Glad that you can attend live if you can, since you're here, because I am doing a community discussion to talk about something that over the last few weeks I've been trying to figure out a way to build this thing. And as you know from the title, and maybe you saw it in the Slack channel, and of course in the newsletter, Friday Open Tables. And what it is, it's an idea that I came up with because I've been getting different requests from different people about creating spaces to kind of accommodate different topics, different groups, sort of subtopics within L&D, so that there are places that people can go to kind of gather and talk about these things, which I believe is important, having something like that. And it used to be that when I would build things, for other orgs and stuff, we'd have to think about, okay, what is the value of building this to, the organization versus like, what is the value of building this thing to the people that are going to participate in it? And that's kind of where it's a little different for me, because I'm starting from that point. Right? From trying to figure out, like, if I do this, how is it helpful for you, the people that are in the community? And so I would really appreciate your feedback, everybody that's in here. If you can just sort of chime in and let me know what you think of some of these ideas. I do have some slides that I'm going to share. I'm using Canva for the first time for doing slides, so hopefully this works. I'm trying to familiarize myself with a lot of different tools, just because we've got that e-learning tool summit coming up. I guess that's next week already. And so Canva is something that I've been playing around with quite a bit lately. And so I've got some slides to show you. But one of the things that really prompted me to come up with this idea was also like a podcast that I listened to. I think it was a couple weeks ago. Let's see. What was it called? I did bookmark it. The Multidisciplinary Approach to Thinking. And it was an interview with a fella named Peter Kaufman. He's a CEO of Glenair, an aerospace company that's based here in California. And what I liked about the podcast basically his story is this, what he decided to do kind of with the way that the way he manages how he thinks. He wanted to learn a lot about a lot of things, or wanted to learn about a lot of things. Didn't want to be necessarily an expert in anything specific yet. But what he did was he knew that he loved reading these like really comprehensive interviews in Discovery magazine. And so he decided to get 12 years of Discovery magazine issues, find the one big comprehensive interview that is in each one of them, read each of those 144 of these articles, and just learn about 144 topics that he thought he needed to know about. And so he actually did that. And now whenever he goes into any type of a business situation or anything that is professional, he just has this vast sort of knowledge that he can pull from, because he's read all of these articles. And I started to think about that and TLDC, and how we're just constantly having these conversations with all of these different people in the industry and just learning so much about each other and about different things. And I think that's really kind of the value of this community, is that we're just sharing all of this stuff. And, I know that if I were to come up with if I had to write a blog post about everything I've learned over the last 5 years of doing this, it would probably be pretty darn good, because I have talk to so many people and learn so much about this space. There is just a ton of value there. And I don't know really how to share all of this stuff, like within even, the website or anything like this, because there's so much of it, but it is really, really valuable. And I want to make these Friday open tables kind of another extension of that, where maybe it's a place that we can go and every Friday you might be able to just sort of to jump in and um, just learn more or talk about something that you don't ordinarily talk about, or something new, something that is specific to what you need to know now, and finding other people that can help you build that knowledge. I mean, there's just a variety of things that can happen at these open tables. And I want to shout out to Stephanie Diggins, who sent like an email to me a few weeks ago that sort of is alluding to this, where she wanted to build, or was considering, something called Freelance Fridays, where maybe on Fridays we talked with freelancers specifically, in TLDC. But then, that takes resources just to do something specific like that. But then these open tables could be, that it could host something like that, as well as mentoring conversations. And Lisa was talking in the last broadcast we did with Danny Ortegon, rounds, which I would love to hear more about that, Lisa. And I thought, well, here's these open tables. So let me open up the slide deck, okay, and just share with you what I'm thinking. Share screen. Oops. Okay, so there we go. Share. Oh, let me lead some of the chat stuff here. Gabrielle's saying, I love the idea of open table Fridays, but wonder how to decide on how many tables, topics, what to include. Exactly. And I think that what helps with that is actually creating limits, like start small. Like maybe there's only 2 topics this coming Friday, or whatever Friday, even 1 topic. If you start going like with too many, then it can get a little overwhelming. And so that's where I'd like to start. Okay, hang on everybody. I am trying to share my screen, but it is not going. Hold on. I just I had to reformat my Mac, and I think that this might be a little bit of trouble. So it's asking for some permission. So hang on. I hadn't done that on this one. All right. Sorry about that. Kick me out so I can get those permissions in there. Okay, let me open this up. And I hope it works. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to share the presentation with everybody in a link. I should have thought about that. That's over the last few weeks, I've been having weird things, like just things here and there that would happen. I got a little sick, and then my computer went down and I had to reformat it, and just good times. All right, here we go. Yeah, no, Kim, I see your comment about publicize it on social media, LinkedIn, and Gabrielle doing marketing, and that is absolutely correct. Being able to share this information out, I think it would really go a long way. Okay, let me know if you can see that. I'm sharing my slide. Yes. Okay, so Friday open tables. At a really, really basic level, oops, sorry. I just want to create a weekly virtual space for meeting, networking, sharing. And I really, when I do this stuff, I just try to start with the basics. And if I open up something like this and we only have 1 or 2 people show up, and I'm just in there talking to you on Fridays, that's a start, right? But really, that's all it is. To begin with, it's just going to be a weekly virtual space for anybody who wants to come in for meeting, networking, and sharing, and then we get more into the details of it, which is it's going to take place on Fridays. To start out, just 1 hour. And realistically, I have a feeling it's going to be more than an hour, because it'll be people want to do what they're going to do, where they're going to meet about something specific, and then there might be some networking and things afterwards. But schedule it for 1 hour. It'll probably be open for longer. I need help from you to decide what the best times would be for something. What hour that should be during the day? Should it be morning, afternoon, evening? We're all in different time zones, so that is a big question for me. And then, of course, topics to be determined. It would be really depend upon who would be willing to host the table, wants to come in and be a part of those conversations. And I don't know if any of you have experienced sort of the table situation in Airmeet, the platform that I use, but those have been really valuable experiences for me in the past when I've been in there and been able to sit down with other participants of an event and chat. It really is very, very cool. So, yeah, I think that anybody that is interested in participating in this would find some value in it. Okay, Lita saying afternoons Eastern time is good for me, especially Fridays. Gabrielle, thank you. Afternoons Eastern time. Lita's asking, so people gather around specific use case or challenges and brainstorm, discuss. Correct. Yeah. And that's where I think it gets a little tricky, is like we were just talking about earlier, having too many topics can actually limit, or I think initially it'll be not quite as effective, especially since it's a weekly thing. So it might be, whatever topics we decide on might not be for everybody, but maybe there's those, handful of people or dozen or who knows more that will find a specific topic relevant to them, and so this space would be of value, at that time. All right, so here I have a screenshot of Airmeet, the virtual platform for Open Table Fridays. I've already actually created an instance in Airmeet for it. I wanted to show you a picture of what the tables look like. Many of you are familiar with that interface already. Maybe all of you are, but you can see that you can have up to 8 chairs. So I don't know if you can see that. These are little chairs here. You can have a minimum of 2. You actually have to have at least 2 people in for kind of the breakout room, which is like a virtual table to activate. You have to have at least 2 people in there, but you could have up to 8. So there is that limit. And I figure if it becomes a situation where there is a topic that more than 8 people want to talk about, we can open up an actual session room, which, the Airmeet has that capability as well, and I can facilitate that if when necessary. And in the session rooms, you can have actually 10 people all together, plus a virtual audience of 100,000. If that ever happened, that would be pretty insane. But yeah, so this is basically what it looks like. And I think that the limit on tables is 144. Not that we would want to do that, but you can see there's 7 tables here. I can make more. I think that when it starts out, it has 6 tables by default, but I can delete tables. So if we just wanted to have 3 tables to start out with, I can just do that. But I've got like 4 empty tables in this picture, so we're just going with that. All right. Great. I see that you are talking about times. Afternoons EST would be more accessible. Love it. Okay. All right, I'll look at that in more detail. Now, I have a listing here, these 5 items that I threw in on this slide. As you can see, I mentioned that it's like breakout rooms. Each table can have its own topic. Or if, if tables got full and you wanted to break out into 2 tables with the same topic, that's possible too. 2 to 8 participants, and these tables are, sort of like rooms like any other like Zoom breakout room. It's streaming audio, video, screen sharing, so you can do presentations. And then of course I mentioned that I could do an actual full session if we needed to do that. And so to build this, what I would need is I'd need some volunteers, and I'd have to kind of parse that out, how that would work exactly. I know initially we might have multiple people that want to do something, but and you tell me whether or not starting out with 2 sessions or 2 table topics or anything like that is too limiting, or what. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Landing page, I'm going to build that out. What it'll be is sort of like an entry area for, so that you can always go back. The one thing about with this Airmeet instance is I think I'm going to have to rebuild. I can't just keep an Airmeet instance open, open all of the time. We can't just keep going back to the same conference, digital virtual conference area every time. Unfortunately, I tried to do that. I don't know if any of you ever saw that. I used to have a campus that was open that I was trying to use that, but it just doesn't work that well. So I'm going to have to create a new instance every time. And so a single landing page will help, so that I can just keep changing that the link to the virtual space, but keep the landing page the same. Yeah. And so for myself, I need a system to maintain the schedule, to build it out. There are things that I'll have to do, like keep adding, new table topics in the newsletter for promotion, so that like when you get your newsletter on Mondays, what I typically like to do, send it out on Monday, you'll know, okay, oh, this Friday we're going to be talking about mentoring, and whatever. So, I'll have to put a section in the newsletter for that. And then just ideas to make sure that it continues to be useful. Once we're in there, that's the important thing for me. I'm going to make this is going to be open to everybody as long as you register. I do have to keep an eye on that, as because I don't want, I've had a couple problems in the past with folks posting things like in Slack. I had some issues with people posting weird stuff in Slack, and I was on vacation and I had to delete this stuff. I was sitting at the beach and deleting these posts on Slack of someone posting adult content. But yeah, I just have to make sure that that we're continuing to build something that people like will go back to. Let's see. Let me go back. I can see. Okay, Gabrielle's asking, so how do we market it? Do we target people based on the topics we'll have at the tables? I think that personally, like in my mind, what I would do is I would list it in the newsletter, and I would list it on LinkedIn, maybe Twitter. I haven't been posting much at Twitter, but I think it would be LinkedIn and the newsletter. And then I'm not going to target anyone specifically. I actually don't even have that capability. It would just simply be the audience that I already have embedded. And, the newsletter actually has I have like 4,000 subscribers, and I sanitize that list regularly, which means whenever people don't open up the newsletter, like I think I do like a 10 issues. If you hadn't opened up the newsletter in 10 issues, I actually remove you from the list, because obviously those folks are not interested in reading it. So it's very, it's targeted, it's helpful. And I generally have, upper 40%, low 50% open rate on the newsletter. And that's really, really high. So, so I think that I think that the marketing for that through the newsletter is good. And then LinkedIn, I have TLDC has a lot of followers, which I don't track it that much. I know that there's something like over 12,000 or something. But I'm not like, I'm not that into social media. So, but when I do post stuff on LinkedIn, people seem to read it. So, posting it in there would be good. And And then Lisa's asking, would it make sense to do one topic at a time at first to measure what topics generate engagement? Yeah, what do you folks think about that? Should it be one topic, two topics, three, or I'd love to hear what you think. Kim is saying maybe put some basic guidelines for community engagement on the landing page. I love it, Kim. That's a great idea. Yes, that is a great idea, and I could use help with that. Great idea. Okay, and for me, myself personally, is where my challenge is making sure that I have a workflow and a process that ensures that I'll have some level of success of keeping up with this stuff, because since it's only me, that's really where the bulk of my work is whenever I have to figure out, okay, where do I place this in my day-to-day? Because I have my day job, and then I, do 2 TLDC in the evening, I have my family and all that. So I'm really particular about where I can fill stuff in. So that's kind of my challenge. And, I'm absolutely willing to work on finding something that is going to be successful. And so the questions really, maybe we can get to this now, is how long should the meetings be? And then some maybe specificity on when on Fridays. Is it a lunch thing? Like if we were doing late afternoons, Eastern time, it would be lunch for Pacific time, which works for me. That was something that a suggestion somebody had made to me by email about, these Friday lunch gathering. And then I'd love to know what would keep you engaged, and if you guys wanted to try this for Friday. Thanks, Kim, on that for that. Yeah. So should we just say that, let me start with the first one. Okay, Stephanie, I'd say next Friday, but we have an event. So are you talking about this next Friday? Okay. So are you saying this coming Friday? And let's see. Kim saying start with 2 topics, 1 hour, 2 at the most. Give folks a sense that they'll have a choice. Okay. All right. So here, let's go with, I'm going to say that we're going to call it 1 hour, but I'm going to open this place up. Like the Airmeet instance will be open. I'll open up first thing in the morning and then close it whenever I get to it, but we'll just schedule it for an hour. And then the time on Fridays, Lane loves the idea of lunchtime. Oh, and Kim, it's okay about doing it this Friday. A lot of times, like whenever it comes to stuff like this, I just sort of like, sometimes I want to just dive in and try to break things so I can figure out how to fix things. So if you wanted to try it this Friday, I'm totally up for it, but next month is okay too. Okay, that's a good point, Lita. Lita saying agree. May is better kickoff, especially if we start then immediately and skip a week. Okay. All right. So are you all good with May? Okay, excellent. Okay, then we'll try it for May. So you're gonna let me have Friday off. I love it. I think my son has baseball practice anyway, so that'll be nice. Let's see. All right, so 1 hour. We're doing it on Fridays. So Eastern time. I'll tell you, the bulk of TLDCers are on the East Coast. Surprisingly, my biggest population of subscribers to the newsletter are actually in the New York area. And I think it's something like 60% of my subscribers are actually on the East Coast. So I'm okay with doing it EST, a time that you would like. That's a great idea, Lisa. Lisa is saying maybe take a poll via the newsletter. How about let's just do a tentative. Oops, where did my post-its go? If we did do it Eastern time, is there for you folks on the East Coast, is there anybody from the West Coast in the chat that is that's in right now? I feel like, because I know Lisa, I believe you're in Connecticut, Kim's in Ohio, Gabrielle's in New York. Let's see, Stephanie, I'm not sure. Oh, okay, Lita, you're in South Carolina. Yeah, so I mean, it seems like the active chat participant lose. Oh, you're in SF. Okay, all right. Stephanie's in Delaware. Yes. Okay, so majority of you right now active in the chat are on the East Coast. So, I mean, throw out some times. Noon Eastern. That would make it 9 a.m. Pacific. I heard earlier afternoons ET would be better, but that's a good point, Lisa. Could it vary? Yeah. Okay. Kim is saying maybe 1 p.m. EDT. I can do a poll. And also varying the times is interesting. It's an intriguing, especially since I'm just keeping it open. And I thought about that. What if it were, if different people, it would be up to the host, right? Like, so if the host wanted of a particular table, they can determine like when they were going to be at the table and wanted to have conversations. That could create some confusion. And a lot of times just having the solid structure is a lot more helpful, but those possibilities are there. Okay. So how about this? I'll do a poll in the newsletter, and then we'll also keep in mind varying the times. And yeah, thanks. Okay, great. And then keeping you engaged. Now, when I was thinking about this sort of the engaged part is, I know I've had people suggest more gamification in some of the events that we do. And I like that idea. I like, doing fun stuff. I just don't have the resources, and it's not that I don't want to create stuff where we have fun. In fact, I was thinking I almost, and still may, purchase like access to this platform where I can integrate more games into stuff like doing trivia and all that. But is, what are there things that when you are in a breakout room or when you participate in virtual events like this that really kind of keep you engaged? Let me know. And Stephanie, yes, repeat topics. I think that if you wanted to do a freelancing conversation every week, I don't think that would be, I think that'd be fine. Like, I'm hoping that, potentially we'd have a scenario like that. Actually, like if on Fridays, like initially I thought, what if it's a lunchtime thing where, freelancers can get together and grab their lunch and just chat about what some of their challenges are. I could definitely see something like that working. I just want it to be a useful space, right? So, but the initial thing is just getting people, educating them that this exists, providing the structure to show like this is a legitimate deal, and this is how it's going to roll every time, and then kind of going from there. Yes, Kim, thank you. I always do the virtual events on Friday, so it's pretty much, I've been doing a monthly, so once a month we're not going to be able to do an open table thing, which in a way it's kind of by design so that people keep an eye on events altogether. But you're absolutely correct. Okay, Gabrielle's asking, dying to find a community of people focused on transitioning their org from training to performance. Ooh, that's intriguing. Yes, Kalito recurring workout loud table or use case table that we rotate. I like it. Yes. Okay, Stephanie, thanks for jumping in. Yeah, we should chat sometime soon. Kim, bring me your MS Word problems table every week. Yeah. Yeah, no, these are some excellent topics. And that kind of brings me to a point that I don't think that I listed in my slides yet because I only have one slide left. But it is sort of like my my system for bringing in topics. Now, I don't know if you all remember this. I was using a tool, kind of a web app called Sleek Plan that had an interface that let folks input things, but I am going to, let me share it actually. Why don't I just do that? Okay. I think that I believe that you'll be able to get into this. Let me know if this works for the Sleek Plan app was something that I used to get ideas about topics for TLDC, and it worked really, really well. In fact, I did it once and I had to like stop because I had so many ideas, and I've actually used a bunch of them over the last year, and it might be I'll integrate it into the open table format so that for people that want to sign up for topics or want to sign up for tables, we can use it there. And there are some great ideas in there, but the one thing is I know we already have a selection of table topics potentially. Now it's sort of like figuring out what'll work and or what to start with and where to go from there. And I know I want to cover it all, and maybe we do more topics than just one or two. I think we just have to make that decision. So let me just show you, what is it? That's a wrap. Thank you for your help. That is my thingy. And I'm going to go ahead and just stop the share. And I'm back. Yes, that's a great idea. Maybe at the end of every open table session, ask for ideas for the future. I love it. Okay, so I think that altogether, the main questions that I had about doing this, which was how long the meeting should be, what time on Fridays, when to start this out, some of these basic things we've got figured out. Now the next thing is deciding when we start this in May, what the topics will be, and that's and then me figuring out my systems for integrating it into how we message this out to the community and all of that. Yeah, and I think that, Lisa, to your point, crowdsourcing the topics, really what it comes down to is who's interested in hosting, right? Because it's about individuals that are curious about something or want to talk about something. Like, for instance, Gabrielle, if talking about what was the topic again? It was like moving from training to performance. Yes, moving from training to performance. That's intriguing. That's really, really good stuff. I actually think that would end up being a pretty big, I mean, I could easily see a table filling up for that. But it's just the willingness of individuals willing to host those conversations is where the constraint is. What that would prompt, creating a table. So that's where I would have to. That's where I think is what's important. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Mostly okay, so I'm going to just build this out, and if if you're still listening, could you just like put a little message in the chat and let me know that you're in for this, and if it's okay, I would like to just keep you as somebody that I could go to for feedback. Okay, thank you, Lita. Yeah, anybody else? Lisa, thanks. Yeah, because I would yeah, and maybe if you're interested, I could just put you folks on the landing page as, you know, kind of the board or the something, the organizing group. Rakesh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, just drop that in there, and maybe you folks can be the group that help build this out. And it really is, you know, this is a place that we can continue just sort of exploring topics, exploring our stories, exploring like, you know, this space, this industry. Just it's, you know, I mean, things are just continuing to evolve. L&D is, you know, more prominent than ever. So, you know, I think that having a space like this can be really important, and I love being able to facilitate a way to let the community manage the conversations versus like, you know, a single individual or whatever. I love just the idea of people getting together and figuring it out like as a group. So yeah, I'm just can't wait to build this. Kim on a board. All right. All right. So I've gone over my time. It's 8:37. I really try to make sure that I don't take up too much of your time. And so with that, thank you so much. I'm going to, you know, feel free to put your, if you're in, let me know in there, and I'm just going to put you on a little list. And with that, first Friday in May, we'll give it a try.